Hi, Lee. How are you?
Hi, Dad. It's good to see you.
Wow, it's been a long time. I really miss seeing you in our part of the world in South America. Now you're on the Northern Hemisphere. How
Yes,
have you been?
I'm good. I miss sometimes my time in South America and Brazil, but I'm happy and I'm doing well in the Northern Hemisphere and in Northern California right now. Thanks for asking.
Oh, that's awesome. And I have to admit, in the time that we were working together here in South America and specifically in Brazil, I really appreciated having you as a colleague that I could depend on, not only as a mentor, but as a sounding board to bounce ideas with and get advice from. But I'm sure you're
Like
doing things
likewise.
for others out there in
I'm
California.
trying. Thank you. Thank you, Kat.
So, Lee, I'm really excited about this book that we're writing together. And specifically, your chapter is very interesting. And it really shows that you have quite a bit of experience and years in leadership at international schools. And in your chapter, you're specifically addressing the matter of enhancing professional capacity and the importance of accountability. And oftentimes, when we hear the word teacher evaluation or accountability, it can sound kind of scary. But I really appreciate the way you address that in a non-threatening way, and we'll get into that. But first, let me ask you. Thinking back to when you were either an aspiring brand or brand new head, what were some of the key points from your chapter that you wish you had known starting out?
That's a really good question, Katerina. Think I wish I had had as a teacher myself the opportunity to kind of be empowered to use a strengths-based approach for myself and my own growth as a teacher. I had wonderful mentors. I had wonderful assistant principals and principals that I worked with, both in the United States as well as in international schools, and they were not overly prescriptive in any way, but the structures that were used in those schools when I was a teacher often were very checklist oriented. They were meetings, attempting to meet some sort of external set of criteria that may or may not have resonated with me as a professional. And so I wish I had had the opportunity to actually dig into my own passion, my own interest, and trust that I would have been able to trust my own instinct for continuous improvement. And I think turning into an administrator and a principal and a head of school, especially in international schools, I think it was, I wish I had started right off the bat doing what I just said, because I kind of went back to the way I was treated as a teacher. And I wish I had started earlier to give more empowerment to the professionals themselves in their growth.
That's amazing. And I know that you, as you've mentioned, have worked stateside and in various parts of the world. But in your opinion, what makes international education unique?
Oh, you know this as well as I do. There is a vibrancy in international education. There is an excitement, a palpable energy that is hard to actually ascertain in other schools. I think it can be, and I think I'm in a school setting right now where I feel a similar type of energy. But the diversity, the transitionary nature of international schools. I know a lot of people think that that's a challenge, and that sometimes it's difficult, and it is. But it's also a way of just meeting so many different diverse perspectives, and harnessing those perspectives, and bringing them into a very intimate community. Um, the other thing that I love about international education is in many of these settings where international schools are situated, They tend to be these islands, if you will. Again, that can be a negative. I know it can be perceived as a negative, but at the same time, for those of us who work in those settings, it just it facilitates such a cohesive relationship building approach to professional work. And I think that needs to show up when we enhance professional capacity and we facilitate professional growth and accountability as well.
I love how you said that. Palpable energy. And that is definitely what I feel when also working at an international school. And there is a sense of vibrancy. And Lee, just from knowing you personally, I know that you write very well. And when we were asking you to write this specific chapter, I'm sure you could have written about many other topics and stories that you could have shared. And what's another particular story that you considered sharing, but when we told you the word count, you realized, oh, I can't fit it all into this one particular chapter?
Oh, I think there are many different dimensions that I could have added, Katerina. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to reflect upon and comment upon, for example, how we enhance professional capacity in our work with students. So, I mean, people in society in general often think that, you know, the adults are the ones who are the knowledge keepers, the culture keepers, and the ones that deliver learning and facilitate learning. But it's a two-way street, as you know. And I actually think that many professionals, faculty members, staff members, leadership in schools, I think we learn a ton from the young people that we serve and that we work with. And I think when we're talking about enhancing professional capacity and holding ourselves accountable, I think I've learned personally a lot from the students I work with. I've learned to I've learned to be more humble. I've learned to apologize for mistakes I've made. I've learned to appreciate different perspectives that are emanating from the student body that maybe are not emanating from my colleagues. And so that's a piece that I think I would have loved to have written another chapter about.
No, that was beautifully said. And another question I have for you is, you know, in international education, you know, it's just full of adventure. There's just like no shortage of humor. And regardless of it being a leadership lesson, what's a particular story, whether you know, thought it was life-threatening, hair-raising, humbling, or hilarious, that you would share at a cocktail party, in which I know you've been invited to many, Lee, or better yet, that you think that you would have never experienced had you followed a traditional path in education?
This experience does not have to have happened in a school, does it?
No, not at all.
Um, I met my wife in an international school. She's from the States. I'm from the States. We met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. We were there for 3 years together. Uh, we used to, with many of our friends and colleagues who were on the staff and the faculty of the school, the International Community School of Addis Ababa, we used to take trips together. And I shared this story at a cocktail party, Katerina. There was a trip when we took a boat ride across this lake in an area of Ethiopia that was kind of right on the border between where there was fighting, civil strife, and not. And on the way back, the boat really was intentionally, strategically, purposely going way too slow because it charged by the hour. And I am such a ridiculous person of principle that really bothered me. I knew they were trying to cheat us. And when we got to the shore and we got to the parking lot and they charged us extra money, I didn't want to do it because I didn't think it was appropriate, and it was just a matter of integrity. To make a long story short, as I'm arguing, all of our friends and colleagues left the compound, went to their cars. and the people who owned the place closed the gate, and it was just myself and my wife inside. And I got so frustrated and fed up that I climbed the fence and left. To this day, my wife Amy still holds that against me. Now, I don't know if there's a leadership lesson in this, but I think that I think there's a part of me that makes me think. I just think to be a leader, a certain amount of integrity is really, really, really important, and I don't think we should put ourselves on the line in a dangerous situation necessarily to do that. But it's a humorous story because it obviously raises eyebrows when my wife in particular tells it at cocktail parties.
Yeah, I'm sure there must be two versions to that
There
story.
are. Yes. Because it was a Soviet satellite state at the time, the country of Ethiopia. So needless to say, there were guns pointed at us and stuff when we were leaving the compound.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's also hair-raising. Not only a funny story, but very hair-raising. But a true story of leadership and a test of being principled, I guess.
Yes.
And Lee, I know that you have traveled to many different places and have lived in various cities. What is that one particular spot that you dream of returning to, and why?
Maybe the most difficult question that you're going to ask me, Katerina. That's a really hard question. I want to go back to all of them for different reasons. So maybe I can just say, I think, as you know, Brazil is like beyond in my heart. It's probably in my soul. I spent 11 years, much of my adult life, professionally and personally in Brazil in two different cities across a couple of decades. So there's a part of me that thinks that that's never left me. And so I kind of want to go back and feed that part of my soul a little bit. Barcelona is a city that if you haven't been there, you need to go. It's a dream city in so many ways. I would love to go back and spend some more time in Barcelona. I'd love to go back to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, because that's where I started my international educational career. That's where I met my wife of almost 30 years. And so there's many reasons for going back to different places.
Yeah, that was cheating because you gave me three and I asked for one, but it's okay. We'll accept that.
Which one? You know what? I will say, I have not been back in a long, long time to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I know I'll go back to Europe. I'd like to go back to Rio for a little bit of time.
Are you feeling saudades?
I am. Tenho saudades sempre, Catarina.
Such a beautiful Portuguese word, isn't it?
It is. I love that word.
Well, Lee, thank you very much for spending the time with me here to chit chat. I'm really glad that I get to see you, even though you're in another part of the world. I think technology is great for this, and I'm very happy to see that you're doing well despite the pandemic that we've all been through. And I look forward for our book to be published so that we can share our stories, because I know that for sure that whatever we learn in grad school or in in any of the higher education, you never really learn all the stories that we will be sharing in this book. So hopefully we'll be able to share words of wisdom.
I look forward to it as well. I think it's a great project, and I thank you and congratulate you for making this happen.
All right. Thank you, Lee. See you soon.
Hi, Katerina. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching and learning with us at SchoolRubric with educators from across the globe. For more access to articles, magazines, podcasts, live episodes, our international school directory, courses, and more, visit us at schoolrubric.org. Thank you.